Hi everyone, welcome back to Pure Tasty Kitchen, where simple ingredients turn into big flavor. Alright, let's get started. I'm adding some butter into the pan and letting it melt down completely. This simple step is where the whole flavor journey begins. As the butter melts, it coats the pan and adds a soft warmth that will make the ground beef sizzle perfectly. Now I'm adding the ground beef straight into that melted butter. I spread it out across the pan and take my time breaking it apart. As it browns, it releases all those rich flavors, mixing with the butter and creating the perfect base for this hearty, comforting dish. Before we go any further, let's get to know each other a bit. Drop a comment and let me know which country you're watching from. I always enjoy reading your responses. It reminds me how many different kitchens and homes these recipes reach. Now, I sprinkle in a little salt and pepper, just enough to bring out all the natural flavors. These simple seasonings make a huge difference. They wake up the beef, balance the vegetables, and build the foundation for a rich, cozy dish. I gently mix everything, letting the butter, beef, salt, and pepper come together. The texture changes, the color deepens, and you can already see the dish starting to come alive. Now you'll notice the beef has become dry, and that's exactly what we want. This means the moisture has cooked off and the meat is starting to brown, giving us a deeper, richer flavor for the soup. Now I move on to the onions. I slice them gently, keeping them in small pieces so they soften quickly and blend beautifully into the soup. Onions add that natural sweetness and depth that brings the whole dish together. Now I'm adding the onions. I let them cook slowly so they soften and blend into the beef, giving the soup that rich, comforting taste we're looking for. Now I'm chopping the yellow pepper into small, even pieces. Yellow pepper adds gentle sweetness and a beautiful pop of color to the dish, making the soup look vibrant and taste even better. Now it's time to chop the red pepper. I slice it into small cubes because it cooks evenly and adds a beautiful depth of color to the soup. Red pepper has a natural sweetness that balances the richness of the beef. Now I'm chopping the green peppers into small, even pieces. Green peppers add a fresh, slightly earthy flavor that balances the sweetness from the red and yellow peppers, making the soup rich and colorful. Now it's time to add all the chopped peppers, the green for freshness, the yellow for sweetness, and the red for that rich, vibrant color. As they cook down, they melt into the beef and onions, creating a beautiful base for our soup. Then I mix everything together slowly, making sure every piece of pepper and onion is coated with the beef. As I keep stirring, the heat helps the vegetables release their sweetness, and the whole dish starts to smell incredible. Now I add the tomato paste and give it a good stir. I make sure it blends into the beef and vegetables, letting it cook for a moment so it deepens the color and builds that rich, hearty flavor. If you're loving the recipe so far, take a second to subscribe to Pure Tasty Kitchen. It really supports the channel and helps me share more cozy, flavorful meals with you. Now I pour in my homemade tomato sauce. I honestly prefer using homemade because the taste is fresher, richer, and so much more comforting than anything from the store. It blends beautifully with the beef and vegetables, giving the dish a deep, warm flavor. Then I mix everything together so the sauce coats every ingredient perfectly. Engaging, now we're moving on to the spices. I'm using paprika for color, garlic powder for aroma, Italian seasoning for that herbal depth, and a touch of curry powder for warmth. These spices create a beautiful balance, but feel free to customize the flavor and use whatever spices you love the most. Now I'm adding just a tiny bit of pasta. It's a small amount, but it helps the soup thicken naturally as it cooks and gives it a comforting, hearty texture. If you prefer, you can switch the pasta for something else you love. Even brown rice works beautifully and adds an extra wholesome feel to the dish. Now I'm adding some beans. This step is completely optional, but I love how beans make the soup heartier and add a nice texture. If you're not a fan or don't have any on hand, feel free to skip this part. The recipe will still turn out delicious. Now I give everything a gentle stir, letting the beans, pasta, vegetables, and beef come together slowly. This helps all the flavors blend without breaking anything apart. Now I'm adding water to the pot, but if you have broth at home, feel free to use that instead. Broth adds even more depth and richness, but water works perfectly too. The flavors from the beef and vegetables will still come through beautifully. After giving everything a good stir, I cover the pot and let it cook on medium heat. This gives all the flavors time to blend together and helps the vegetables soften beautifully. Letting it cook for a few minutes, I come back and give the soup a gentle stir. This helps everything blend together and make sure the flavors develop evenly. Now I sprinkle a little cheese on top. You can add just a small amount for a light touch, or go in with more if you love that creamy finish. And if you prefer your soup without cheese, you can completely leave it out. It's all up to your taste. Take a look at this beautiful soup. The vegetables are soft, the beef is tender, and the broth has turned rich and flavorful. It's truly mouth-watering, the kind of dish that makes you want to grab a bowl right away. And that's the final bowl, rich, warm, and full of flavor. Thank you so much for joining me in Pure Tasty Kitchen today. If you enjoyed this recipe, leave a comment, give the video a thumbs up, and subscribe for more easy, tasty meals. Your support means so much, and I can't wait to share more recipes with you. See you in the next video.